Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 3. We're going to be going over printing variables and getting user input. So go ahead and open up a new Notepad++ file, and we're gonna, here at the top I'm going to make a title using a multi-line comment, which is a common practice that gives anyone else who looks at this program an idea of what it is about, and it's also a place where you can put your name to show that you made this program. Just going to do this real quick. Tutorial 3, author Zach Alberta, and just go ahead and save. Before we get started here, I'm going to create a new folder, lesson 3, open that up. Okay. The next thing we're going to add is the preprocessor directive in the header file. So include stdio.h, which is the standard in and out for printing and scanning or user input. And the next thing we're going to do is create the main menu, or not main menu, the main function, and create the body of the function there. So int main parentheses void, and then curly braces there, and then return 0 to complete that function there. And the first thing I'm going to show you guys how to create is our first variable, and it's going to be what's called a global variable. And what that basically means is that you can use it anywhere in the program, but we will be avoiding these in the future because they become confusing when you want to use the same name for variables in different parts of your program. So a variable is first created by declaring a data type, and in this tutorial we're going to be covering chars, ints, float, and double. So int, and then after the data type is the name of the variable. I'll just call it global var for variable, short for variable. And then you have an equal sign, which is called an assignment operator. This is followed by its corresponding data that you want to store in the variable name. And then, okay, so 3, and then it's closed with a semicolon after that. So that's a global variable. And then inside the main function, these are called local variables. So this local var of type int is only accessible through the main function. Just say 4 for that. And so int is short for integer, which are whole numbers, and it can also be a positive or a negative number or 0. And the next thing we're going to have here is a float. So local float equals 2.2. These are decimal numbers, which also can be positive or negative. And same thing with the double. It's also a integer number that can be positive or negative. And the main difference between doubles and float is that the amount of memory, so if you're a constraint for memory, or you're restricted for the amount of memory you can use on a system, stick to floats. Doubles are more precise, which is why they require more memory. But if you're using a modern system, modern computer, just stick to doubles. It really won't slow down your program or anything like that. But if you're working for smaller applications, you can use floats to speed up the time for that. The next thing we're going to do here is char. which is short for character. And a character is everything that's on your keyboard, basically. Each individual key is a character. And so when you're saving a character to the variable, to the local char, you want to have single quotes and then a symbol or a character, and then close it with another single quote. And so you can only have one character in these single quotes when you're saving it to the local char. And because otherwise, if you have more than one letter in there like that, it becomes a string. And we're not going to be going over strings until later. So the next thing we're going to do is learn how to print these. And so what you'll want to do is we're going to be using the printf function here with double quotes, and then so we'll have this is how you print an int. And so what you want to do next is insert what's called a format specifier, and this is required for each different data type. So %d will allow you to print integers. So after you insert the %d in your double quotes here, that's where your integer will print out in the print line. So after that, you want to have a comma, and then you'll type in local var, which will be our integer value of 4, and then close the parentheses and then end with a semicolon. And then I'm just going to copy and paste this here. This is how you print float. So float is printed with F there, with the %F, and then local float. Double, this is how you print a double. Double is printed with LF, short for long float. D is short for decimal. So local double, and then how you print a char is you have %C as the symbol there, and then we'll print that out, local char. And so when you're printing this out to note, this is all just going to print on one line, and so to avoid that, we're going to insert what's called an Xscape sequence. So this \n is going to create a new line for us in our printing when we're printing on the command line. So we'll just insert all these to that, look to the end of our print statements there. So it'll print all this and then create a new line, print all that, create a new line, etc. So now what we're going to do is we'll save that, and let's compile it, and then I'll show you. So cmd, and you should know how to do this. I kind of have gone over it in my previous tutorials. If you haven't seen those or don't know how to compile, please watch those videos. So what we're going to do is change our directory, which is also right here. So we're just changing to desktop/C programs, etc. tutorials lesson3/ okay, and then we're going to compile gcc-c lesson3.c, and then gcc-o L3 will be my file executable name, lesson3.o, and then type in L3, and then it prints out the integer, the float, the double, and the F. and I'll go over later on how to format these so that they look better in future tutorials. I'm not going to do that right now just for the sake of time, but I will be going over that in the future definitely. So the next thing we're going to do is change these values here by taking in user input. And so what we're going to do is, first of all, printf. We're going to inform the user of what they're going to be inputting. And so we're going to say, please enter in a new integer. And then we'll have a arrow, or a not arrow, sideways, caret, angle, bracket, whatever you want to call it there. And then we won't have any space, but we will have a space after that angle bracket there. And then close that. So what we're going to do is use the function scanf. And so then in parentheses, in parentheses, and then in double quotes, you're going to use the format specifier, which will be used to change whatever variable you're trying to change. So the %d, since we're going to be changing the integer value of local var, we're going to use the %d format specifier. So then comma, and then you're going to type in the local, or you're going to type in an ampersand, which will then, after that, we'll type in local var. And what this ampersand does right here, it tells the function to send the data that is being inputted into the address of local var, which changes the actual value. And so then I'm just going to copy and paste this. For please enter a new float here, and then scanf f, and then at local float, please enter a new double, and then print in, or we'll scan in the double. So local double here, and then please enter a new character. So one interesting thing about when you're entering characters is that it will actually store the enter, like when you, after you enter in the new double and you press enter to save that value, there's what's called a string terminator, which will actually be stored into this character value right here. But there's a workaround that you can do for that. If you add a space in here, it won't save that string terminator, and it'll allow you to enter in a new character. That's just one thing, and I can show you guys what it does, but we'll print this out here real quick. So this is your new, int, this is your new float, new double here, and new character. Save that, and we will compile it again. Create a new executable. So here it's asking for a new integer. I'll just do 321, enter a new float, 4.442, a new double, 6.443, and then enter a new character. We'll do B. And so this is your new int, 321, new float, 4.442, etc. I'm just going to show you guys that this will actually save that enter in when you do that without the space there real quick. So new integer 3, new float 3.22, 3.33, and then see, it didn't even let me save that character, a new character in, because of that null terminator. So, and I will be providing a lot more links on my blog about all this information. I realized this was kind of a fast and furious introduction to variables and scanning, but I was trying to make the video short for you guys so that you can don't have to waste too much time listening to me. So anyway, I will be posting this on my blog with a lot more comments and a lot more links for more information for you guys to research on your own. So thanks for watching, and